So I just returned home from a doctor's appointment, and it really wasn't an appointment. It was a follow-up to some tests that I had in May. So May, June, July. 2 months later, there's an opening in the doctor's schedule for her to make some time for me. I waited in the room for hours, well, not hours, I would say an hour for her to come. And when she came in, she was like, "How you doing?" And I was like, "I'm good." Because the way she came in, I already knew what time of day she was on. I knew what type of bullshit she was on. So, she asked me how I had really been doing. And I was like, "Well, I'm having a flare-up." And so she was like, "Still, you don't want to," and before she could get the word hysterectomy out of her mouth, I cut her off. I said, "No, I do not." I have been very adamant about not wanting the hysterectomy. I've done the research, I've done the homework. I know that hysterectomy does not, will not, cannot cure endometriosis. I don't give a fuck what they tell you. It doesn't cure it. A hysterectomy probably buys you a little bit of time for your body to realize that you don't have a uterus anymore. And sometimes they do partial and they leave the ovaries. The endometriosis, there's no cure. You can't cure it. I don't give a fuck what they say. They can't cure it with Lupron. They can't cure it with birth control. They can't cure it with a hysterectomy. They cannot cure it. Nobody has come up with a way to cure it. And what they won't tell you once they push the hysterectomy on you, that even you get the hysterectomy, you know, you good for a minute, the endometriosis can come back. And for me, I've done the work. I know endometriosis can spread anywhere in the body, to the brain, to the diaphragm, to the chest, to the rib, to the bowels, to the bladder, the kidney. Endometriosis is not prejudiced and is not contained in all one area. The sad thing about it is only women get it. So even if I agree, and I asked, I said, "Well, what does the ultrasound look like?" Because that's what I came back from, my ultrasound and my lab work. And so I said, "Well, what does the ultrasound look like?" And she was like, "It says what it's been saying, that it's full of fibroids." And I can see the adenomyosis on there. Adenomyosis is the cousin to endometriosis. They come as a package deal. You know what I'm saying? Although I was originally told, when I was ever told about adenomyosis, I was told it cannot be diagnosed until after you've had a hysterectomy and they're able to open it up and biopsy and all that stuff. But she showed me adenomyosis on mine, and I saw it. This isn't the first time I've seen this doctor. We've already discussed. The reason why I left her last time is because not only did she know about the endometriosis, the adenomyosis, she added on PCOS, which I know for sure I don't have. For sure, I don't have PCOS. And so she asked me about the Lupron injection, and I was like, "No, I'm not doing that." And so I said, "Well, what about the labs?" And she showed me, when she was showing me my ultrasound, she was showing how overlarge my my uterus is, and how the ovaries, you know, kind of squished together, the, you know, the lining, the endometrium lining, and all of this. And which is further reason why I feel like I need to hurry up and get the fuck out of school so that I can start doing ultrasounds and be more useful. Because I know this stuff for myself, but I can't go sit in every woman's doctor's appointment and tell her what she's telling you is a lie. Like, she ain't standing on business. And so she was like, "Well, there's no medication that I can give you if you don't want to take the Lupron." And she asked me about the birth control, and I was like, "No, I'm good," because I know all of those poisons that you put in my body is only going to make the endometriosis angry. You know, it's only going to get worse. And I told her, I said, "I know too many women that have had hysterectomies that are still suffering from endometriosis." She was like, "Yeah, that's possible. It can come back, but it doesn't come back as fast and as strong, but it comes back." right? And then when it comes back, it might bring another cousin with it that I never knew it had, or it could bring back the big C. Or if you take my uterus, then I have to take hormones, and the hormones can cause a different kind of cancer. It's just the dog chasing this. I say, you know what? I know what I'm going to do. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to continue eating better. I'm going to continue a more healthier lifestyle. And I'm going to try to heal myself, because the flare-up that I'm having right now, it was caused by physical, mental, and emotional exhaustion. I overdid it. When I painted this room, I painted it by myself, top to bottom. I did the primer, then I was going to the point, like when I was painting, I had blisters on my hand. Like, I'm not used to this type of shit, but I knew I had to get it done, because I can't just call on somebody and say, hey, can you paint this room, or, you know, whatever. So, and that plus the mass shooting incident that I barely missed, that put a strain on my mental. Come and cut this light off. So now I know that I have to pick my battles a little bit more. If I exert myself painting, or lately I've been purging, so I've been cleaning out garages, I've been cleaning out old clothes, shoes, and things we don't need. So now I know if you do too much physically, then mentally you're not going to be able to take on a lot. Emotionally, you're not going to be able to take on a lot. I got to find balance. So what this means is I have to listen to my body more. When I say my body, I don't just mean my physical body. I mean my mental, my emotional, and my spiritual body. Because if I'm taking on too much and I'm pouring and my cup is empty, then there's nothing left. And so a flare-up is most definitely going to peak its head, because why not? You obviously have showed your body you don't give a fuck. So you're going to put as much strain on you. So I got something for you. Because when I give you a flare-up, it shut everything down. Because during the flare-up, I can't stand up, I can't get up, I be fucked up. You know what I'm saying? So a flare-up is my body's way of saying, you didn't choose to rest after you painted the room. You didn't choose to rest after you were worried that something could happen in your life couldn't. So I'm about to set your ass down, so you have no choice but to rest. And I'm okay with that. But it has to be, I have to know when not to let it get to that point. I have to be okay with saying, well, you know what? I got to put my phone on Do Not Disturb. I can't be available for all of these things. And I can't have this person tugging on my energy and that person tugging on my energy. And then I have to go do this, and I'm giving this and I'm giving that. I have to be the only one to call a timeout. Like, flag on the play. I can't do it. And I feel like as a doctor, she wasn't compassionate, because she was like, you still feel like you need to hold on to that uterus? Yes, bitch, I do. I really, really do. And now, you know, with the symptoms of perimenopause, you know what I'm saying, I got to fight that too. But there's a way that can control with herbs and vitamins, and, you know, enough sleep, more water, exercise, getting out in the sun, summer nature. Some of the things that's going to help control the endometriosis will indeed, in fact, help with the perimenopause. So she just confirmed to me what I already knew, like the fibroids are back. What do I need to do? I needed to get some herbs. I needed to order something from Crystal, the Aculine Goddess. And she has a fibroid fighter. She has endometriosis things, you know. And I'm going to have to try to cut out the seafood. I'm going to have to try to do more fresh fruits and vegetables, because sometimes I fall, and sometimes I slip up, and I eat something I'm not supposed to eat. This week alone, the cravings for ice cream, and I was so specific with the kind of ice cream. I was like, can I please have Neapolitan ice cream? That's when I know I'm fucked up, when it's a certain kind of chocolate or sweet, sugary when I can put a name on it, that's when I know it's really bad. So, but when you get to the point, like some people stress eat, some people don't. But when you get to the point where you're just tired, then you'll start wanting these low vibrational things to put in your body when you know you had no business eating that. And I know that, and I can call myself out on it, but most of the time I do have really good willpower, a whole lot of determination, and they've been trying to talk me into having a hysterectomy since I was 21, and I had one kid, and that was on the speculation that I may have endometriosis. He was like, well, if I go in and find it, do you want it? No, I do not. I have heard from my kid's aunt, her say, since she had a hysterectomy, she feel like she always has to wear a girdle to hold that part of her body up, because what organs and things were situated on her uterus isn't there, and so they just hang. How the fuck am I going to be able to do and keep up with the lifestyle that I have, always in the girdle, always worried about my organs slipping and prolapsing, and then the next thing you know, pieces down on the ground hanging? No, I do not want that. I know my body, and I know my body without my womb is not going to be able to function like I normally do. And I know millions of women that are grateful they had a hysterectomy. Shit, I know 10 personally and like, this is the best thing I could have did. I'm so glad. I've heard those stories too. But for me, my reason is completely different from somebody else's. There's not a doctor that is going to convince me to do it. It's not life or death. It's not like if you don't get it, you may pass. It's not one of those situations. So it's not urgent. It's just the fact that they always pushing it. That's the first thing they push. The first thing they push. First thing they push. There's a group of doctors in New York and in Miami that I am going to save my coin so that I can go visit them, because everything that I have researched on my own, the doctor comes out with it, and it's been true. When the doctors that I see, when I go ask them, they're like, no, that can't be the case. I had to convince my PCP that endometriosis can grow in the brain. She was like, no, it can't. And then she Googled it, and she was like, well, what do you know? Okay, bitch, I'm not telling you something that I haven't already researched before. Just like I know in my case, my endometriosis is not just in my womb. It's in my ribs and my diaphragm. But that would require a different kind of surgery, because they have to, thoracic surgeon have to crack open your ribs a little bit just to be able to locate it. And there's not one single endometriosis specialist in this city at all. And so I don't know what the doctor in New York, I don't know if they accept insurance, I don't know how it works. But what I do know is that I want to be able to have enough funds that when I go, I don't have to worry about rushing back. I can give me a room, recover, after, and make sure everything is okay. But, it starts with a consultation and him getting the medical notes from everybody else. But I do feel like that I have more faith in him than any doctor that I've ever seen in the past, since I was 19 and I had my first GYN visit. When I became pregnant with my oldest daughter. That was the first GYN visit I had, but had been having endometriosis symptoms since the day I started my first cycle. Every first day of my cycle, my mom allowed me to stay home from school. So I know what they say when they say girls are missing. The first day, I would live, sleep on the bathroom floor. I went from the toilet to the tub to the blanket, and that's all I did that first day. I was throwing up. I was like, it was horrible. And by the time the cycle was over, here comes the migraine. And I also realized that while I was in anatomy class, 1 in 10 females mainly suffer from migraines. Well, it's 1 in 10 that has endometriosis. It has to be a correlation there. Okay, I used to get the Botox, and it was the only relief that I had from the migraines. The cocktails that they give you in the ER would make me absolutely insane. So I would have to refuse half of the medicine. So she would give me the Botox starting right here, and she would go all the way through my head, and then she would end up in my shoulders. And I know, you know, for some people, Botox make them look good. I used to go every 3 months to get it, and I did that for about 4 years. And one time she did it, and it felt like I could feel the medicine seeping down in my brain. And I was like, you know what? I can't keep doing this. And so I skipped my next visit, but I had also stopped eating red meat and stopped eating pork. And I had got myself in a healthier environment too, which was half for the mental. And so I was like, I'm gonna skip. I'm gonna come every other visit. You know, I'm gonna come twice a year instead of 4 times. And she was like, well, with the severity of your migraines, because they were terrible. She said, with the severity of your migraines, you will never be able to get off of this Botox. You're gonna always need it. And I said, you know what? I'm not. I can bet you I'm not. And I thank God, knock on this little wood, that I have not suffered from migraines, and I have not needed the Botox in about 2, maybe 3 years, maybe. And I loved my neurologist too, and I found out, you know, that she's not here. My mom goes and she gets the injections for migraines. Mine got worse after a bus accident when I was in middle school. But even with my mom and her sisters and them, which I truly believe endometriosis is hereditary, they had hysterectomies, but it didn't stop the endometriosis. And so the migraines and everything else that they're going through is kind of tied to the endometriosis, which they was probably never talked about then. You know, it was a shush situation then, but they are still suffering with it. And they just don't know what to call it, what to title it. So the doctors are giving them every other diagnosis except for, you have endometriosis, I don't know how to treat it, there's no need for you to come here. Because if the taking my womb would fix me, then I would never have to see this doctor again. But if you take my womb but you leave my ovaries, then I have to take some type of hormone replacement, and I have to come in every so often, because you're gonna have to check my levels and make sure that the hormone replacement therapy that you're giving me is working. And if it's not working, then we gotta try something else. And even though it might be working for this, it's fucking this up, and then this don't work right, and this and this and this. It's a forever revolving door that I don't want to be a part of. I'm gonna take my fucking chances with these herbs and things, and making these lifestyle changes, and listening to my body, other than listening to a doctor that probably sees 200-300 patients a month. By the time you leave out this room, you don't forget what the fuck you told me, what I told you, except for the fact that I'm not getting, and I know it's plastered all over my nose. She won't get a hysterectomy. She won't get a hysterectomy. There's nothing we can do. We can't give her this. We can't give her that. I'm cool with that. You told me the fibroids are back. You showed them to me. Okay, babe, I got you. You did your part. There's no malpractice on you. You did your part. You told me the only thing that you could do for me would be to give me a hysterectomy, and that's how my symptoms and things will go away. You did your job. But I'm going to go with God, and we going to figure this shit out together and see. Because, you know, the same medical books you're reading out of, I'm studying them too in anatomy and physiology. I haven't moved on to, you know, the big doctor, you know, years and the resident and all that shit like that. I haven't moved on to that. But mind you, I've known that I've had endometriosis since I was 21. I've studied everything. I've followed the doctors. I've had some of the surgeries to remove it. I've done everything. So just as much, and just that you know, I know the same shit. And I know me. That's the difference. I know what's in the books. You know what's in the books. I know me, and I know my body. And that's what I'm going to listen to.